Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully all of you are doing well out there. I'm, of course, your host, Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Tier 7 American Premium Heavy Tank, the M6A2E1. Now, this is dubbed as the tallest tank in the game, alongside the other goose, the M6 Experimental, which, as you'll look, is pretty much identical in the way at least they look, and as well, both very good frontal armor. Some of the best armor, I'd have to say, frontally in the game. Now, this vehicle is 3.34 meters tall, and the mouse is 2.84 meters tall, which means that this thing is quite a bit taller than some of the tallest and heaviest vehicles in the game. So I figured, you know what, not only will that make a pretty fun video to talk about the tallest vehicle in the game, but as well, it's a pretty solid tank. Not a lot of people give this thing a good rep, but one thing that's good is the armor. The frontal armor on this vehicle is actually fantastically thick. Vehicles like the T-71, the AMX AC-46, pretty much all the Tier 6s on the enemy team are going to have to load gold to even have a chance to penetrate me frontally. The biggest issue with the M6 Experimental is the turret. The turret weak spots are very easy to penetrate. This tank carries pretty much the same turret a tier lower, which means that this turret statistically has quite a bit better armor because you're playing against Tier 6 and 7 opponents, where the EXP is playing up against Tier 8 and Tier 9, so yeah. But we're going to do exactly what I normally do in this tank, which is don't angle at all, sit frontally, and just pen your shots bounce the enemy shells. So yeah, the great thing about this tank is that with it having such strong frontal armor, there really is no playstyle apart from sit right out in the open in the front of the enemy. Now, of course, you don't always want to sit out in the open, like that's not the biggest of brain ideas, but you can pretty much sit out in the open, aiming, and fire. Boom, look at that, perfect shell. This tank carries a, what is it, 100 millimeter? It's not a 90 millimeter, I think it's a 100 millimeter gun. It does 310 average damage, and it's not too bad. So we're going to see if we can get some shells out. They've got 2 Tier 7 tanks on their team, and already their team is just being absolutely butchered. What are we spotted by? I can say one thing that sucks on this tank is the camo. It's bad. It really has no camo. But on the same time, we're just going to aim in at this AMX AC. There's a nice bounce, although we bounced him as well. There's a what is that? An MT-25 turret. Yeah, it is. Okay, so right now we're just kind of pushing tanks along, aim, and fire. Boom, 412 damage. Don't you love the HE capabilities on this tank? But man, the enemy team's falling apart mighty quickly, aren't they? This is just the ability of the Goose, although really, I can't say this tank is causing too much of an impact on the enemy team. We just kind of drove. You'll see it's not the fastest of vehicles. It's actually quite slow. Only going about 30 kilometers per hour. Yeah, it's meh on the top speed. But speed isn't always key with this vehicle because you can just drive straight into the enemy lines like no problem whatsoever. We're going to shoot this T-34, 85. He's gotten shot. That is a stock T-34-85, none to mention. And let's just give it a little love tap. There you go, taken out. And all that's left is the enemy T-71. So, not a lot of damage. But to be fair, I really couldn't get damage out this game. This was one of the quickest games I've played in a while. That's one of the issues when you've got a good team versus a bad team is even though we only did 1,200, still finished top on the team, that was almost like a tournament team. We just absolutely stomped the enemy battlefield. So let's, of course, load in the one more because I didn't expect us to win that pretty quickly. So back to what I was talking about. The M6 is very similar to the Tier 8 EXP. In fact, when the M6 Experimental came out in the first year's Blitz Fair, I got this tank over the IS-3 Dispender. Yes, my English is great, but I spent $100 US getting my hands on this vehicle, or the Tier 8, the EXP, because at the time, it was actually a ridiculously overpowered vehicle. The ability to sit hull down with about 290 millimeters of upper plate armor. Vehicles at Tier 8 could not penetrate you at that time. They would have to load gold to even have a chance of penetrating you. And judging that calibrated shells was a lot rarer to run at the time, it was just a very, very tricky tank to cut through. Another Tier 7 battle, though, not too bad. Now, vehicles like the Smasher can easily rip through this tank's frontal armor if they're running calibrated. If they're not, I'd say it's about a 50-50. This thing's honestly got really good frontal armor. A lot of people don't think it does, but it's very strong. The sides, oh boy, are they weak, though. Like, if a Smasher gets the side of my tank, yeah, it's going to be a quick garage visit back because, yeah, its sides are like 50 millimeters, if I'm not mistaken, which means that vehicles like the SU-100Y, the SU-100, the T-29, the Smasher, and the AMX M445, if they have my sides, should easily be penetrating them with HE. Not too good, especially when you're up against Tier 8s like the T-49, SU-152. Any big shells that are like 150s are going to rip through your side armor, and that's why I say never angle this vehicle, is because it really doesn't have any armor to angle with. whiff. So there's a nice shot into the side of the Smasher here. This thing, of course, being American, and as well carrying the same type of gun as the T-29, carries the same gun depression at 10 degrees, which is pretty solid. That means that you can work a lot of ridgelines and get big ol' shells out onto vehicles like the SU-100Y. Now, I'm actually not super worried about the 100Y being able to pen me. We're just going to kind of poke this here. There, well, I guess that's not really a pen, is it? That's just a miss. There's a shot from the Type 62, aiming, and yeet! There you go, nice shot in the U. And even though you did damage my turret, not too much I got to worry about. You can see, you can penetrate weak spots on the turret here and there, but all in all, super strong. And there's another nice snap. But we are a very tall tank, and as you can see, height is not always a good advantage, as we're kind of being picked apart by enemy tanks. So we got the Smasher out in the open. Let's try and slam a shell right into his lower plate. Nice shot, I hopefully think there. But at the same time, I kind of want to move back and forth here. I don't want to be shot in my turret. Very big weak spot is the roof of the turret. You can see I've been slammed all over so far in it. Yeah, it's not a spot that's really welcome to visitors. So we're going to push my way on up here and see if we can get some shells out. I don't know if I connected my shell onto that Smasher, but ooh, that hurt. Again, big shells going into the side of this tank. It's such an easy vehicle to shoot if you have the side of it, like, really, really easy. And as you can see here, it's caused my tank to fall apart very quickly on the hit point spectrum. I don't think I'm actually running hit points on this tank, though, now that I think about it. Let's get a nice shot into the Type 62's turret there. Thank you very much. Let's reload in a couple more seconds and hopefully do it just once more, although that's the Smasher who just wrecked my teammates. No, I don't like that. Let's poke this again. Hello, Type 62. What are you doing? Oh, that's an SU-100. Nice snap in him here. There you go. Beautiful bounce. As you can see again, that frontal armor just being able to shrug off shells like no problem whatsoever. Now, we do have the Smasher looking off to the side, which isn't necessarily what I'm too fond of, so let's hopefully pull out here. Boom! Oh, low roll. Come on, Wargaming. That's sad. I didn't think that we were going to low roll that much. Hopefully that Smasher's not looking at me. Yes, he's not, which means we should be able to pull up here. There's the SU-100. Yeet a shell into him, and let's keep on moving forwards. Come on, I can bounce the shell. I believe in the mighty M6 experimental. Oh, yeah, that's right. You shoot HE at me because you can't pen the mighty tank. This thing really, though, you can see the armor is ridiculously strong. It's got the ability to shrug off shells like no problem whatsoever. Let's face hug this SU-100Y because that's going to give him a much harder time to pen me here. And, well, I guess he's just going with the old HE route. So, not much he's going to be able to do with me, of course, HEing me. And let's get one nice tap into him, finishing off the SU-100Y. So we got the T-29 left, we've got the AMX M445, and as well the Smashers off to the side. Now the Smasher, of course, is going to be very, very deadly. In fact, if he's poking this corner, I got to be worried that he's going to take me out. So we're going to try and poke this as safely as possible. Let's yeet a shell into the side of the AMX, and then go back in the cover. Now we got the T-43 over there, and as well, I don't know, there's the Smasher. Hello, Smasher, how are you doing? Comrade, I want to play with you. Oh, big brain Smasher here. We're, of course, going to out-reload him because we do have the reload advantage. And, yeah, we're just going to kind of sit here. So, how was your day, Ben? Mine's been pretty good, to be fair. We're just going to sit here and reload. Goodbye. Wow, we actually didn't out-reload him. That's insane. We do less alpha than him. And, yeah, he out-reloaded us. Okay, Wargaming. MT, you've got to move. Why is this? No, oh, my God. Okay, we're going to, yeah, go, you're not done. I agree. I was trying to go. My MT-25 does not like me too much. So, as you can see, this tank survived a plethora of shells. Even though we lost a lot of HP at the beginning and we got shot in the side a lot, you can see the armor on this tank is immense. A very, very strong tank, able to weather the storm very, very easily against enemy opponents. Now, we got the T-29 off to the side here, who we might, yes, good driving from the NT-25. Let's get a nice shot into the T-25. Oh, he went through my... I actually don't know where he went through. But, as you can see, we did a good job, and that's all that matters. I think we did over 3,000 damage, if I'm not mistaken. And even though my team seems to be not the biggest of brains, nice shot from the Stirrer, a mill, finishing off the T-29. So there you go. Pretty good stuff overall from our team and the M6 experimental, the Mighty Goose itself. Let's just see how much damage we did pull out for this battle. 3,937. That's a mastery on my part. And 101,000 credits because American vehicles, for some reason, always earn fantastic credits. So, yeah, it's a great tank. And honestly, it's in the stores. Now, I wouldn't suggest to buy it because it usually doesn't come out for cheap if I'm 100% sure. And while it is a really fun vehicle and it's super tall, that was kind of what the video's idea was on, is I just wanted to know what is the tallest tank in the game. So hopefully you all enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But other than that, hopefully all of you are doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and to be seeing you in the next one.